impact of increasing extreme weather conditions is causing serious social, health, and economic crisis. Humans, livestock, and wild animals are grappling with the effects of climate change. Extreme weather conditions such as floods and droughts, among other natural disasters, are becoming the norm. The suffering brought about by these climate change effects is at a level never seen before.
Climate change is it's a lived reality. When we were growing up, we used to be told that it's a thing that it's the problem of of the next generation.
Women, youth, and people with disability are the ones who bear the brunt of these climatic changes. Women are the primary caregivers in most communities and are left with children as men go out to look for livelihoods. When climatic disasters strike, it is up to the women to relocate the families in times of floods, walk long distances to look for water during drought, and take care of those whose health is impacted. Those with disability, unable to fend for themselves, rely on either well-wishers or guardians who might not be present or able at all times, placing them at vulnerable situations in cases of emergency.
And the reason why women are the most vulnerable is because women carry the burden of the whole family. If it's fetching water, they're the ones who fetch water, and they have to walk long distances to fetch water. And in the process of walking for this long distance, they face a lot of challenges with regards to gender-based violence.
Our people are suffering from, they don't have pasture for their cattle. They have to move to greener places, across the border. If you walk from here, it is about 25 kilometers to Uganda. So people take their cattle there to Uganda to look for greener pastures.
Wakati ya kiangazi, wazee wanahama na mali yawe, wanaenda kutafuta malisho. Wamama wanabaki nyumbani, hakuna chakula, hakuna nini. Watoto wadogo wanahangaika, ndio maziwa hakuna.
Livelihoods are being wiped out, and thousands of people are constantly looking for alternative sources. Farms that were once passed down generations cannot be relied on anymore. Produce is barely enough to feed families, let alone produce surplus for sale.
A lot of these households depend on agriculture. They depend on going to the market to sell a few of their goods. And due to droughts, due to floods, landslides, they are not able to get any source of food or any source of livelihood.
The moment kumekauka hivi, ujue youth wengi wana expect wapate job kutoka huku, mostly kwa mashamba hivi. Wengine wanakuwa so stress, wanakuwa depressed, wana engage in drug abuse. Wengine hadi wanajiua, hadi wamekosa hope.
To address climate change and its implications, we need to apply a gender lens. Climate processes and policies should be all-inclusive by seeking the active participation of everyone for comprehensive solutions.
Unapata hata kweli wakina mama wanapata ile pato, wanachoma makaa. Na lazima tuwaambie kwamba tuwabadilishe hiyo kukata miti ama kutegemea tu makaa, waingie kwa mabiashara zingine.
Crown Trust has just come to the county government of Nyandarua, and we have been able to work together, especially in maintaining gender mainstreaming in matters climate change. And that is one of the key factors. If you look at the impacts of climate change, they affect our women more than us men. So through Crown Trust, we have been able to mainstream gender and at some point the youth.
Changamoto ni kwamba wakati unaenda kufunza watu kule mashinani, ukiambia mtu usikate makaa atasema nitakula nini? Hiyo ni swali ya kwanza watakuuliza.
Basically, these people need education, and just engaging and having a conversation with them to tell them that charcoal burning, for example, is depleting our environment, so we need to engage on other programs.
Crown Trust is at the forefront of equipping marginalized groups with skills and knowledge to actively participate in the key climate processes through the Green Champions for Change project, and has set its feet in West Pokot, Nyandarua and Kwale counties. The project seeks to ensure that women and other marginalized groups play a key role in influencing climate change decisions at the local and national levels.
Wakati hewa inabadilika, wakati mazingira inachafuliwa alafu hewa inabadilika, kunakuwa na njaa.
Phase 1 of the project, funded by Akina Mama wa Africa, has been ongoing for the last 1 year. Through this project, dozens have been sensitized and trained during roadshows and seminars.
Hii program imenisaidia sana juu imenielimisha women rights, tena imenielimisha vile naweza linda mazingira.
Nimejifunza mambo mengi kuhusu hii janga la tunaloita tabia nchi. Kwanza nimejifunza mambo mawili matatu: ku conserve environment na njia moja ama hii na ingine.
The first workshop we were taught is about not cutting trees, burning charcoals, no. And the time we started stopping that made us to know how to maintain our environment.
Nashukuru sana kwa hii shirika la Crown Trust kwa sababu limeweza kunihusisha hasa kwa trainings ambazo zilikuwa zinanisaidia kuweza kusaidia vijana wengine, hasa masuala ya budget, vile pia masuala ya awareness about climate change.
We learned a lot through the program on how we can ensure that the community understand and participate in mitigating the effects of climate change.
With women and the youth being the worst hit by the climate change impacts, Crown Trust is working towards cushioning them. Food and water scarcity have made life unbearable for many who spend hours in search of commodities needed in households on a day-to-day basis.
Na maji ikikosekana, wamama na wasichana wanaathiriwa sana. Na hiyo bado inaletwa na ni nchi tabia. Juu wasichana wanaambiwa hata wasiende shule, waende wakatafute maji.
Women are they are the ones who perform the domestic chores at home. But most of their time they are out looking for water. In fact, they are the ones looking for firewood. And so they waste a lot of time looking for those two things that are supposed to be given out naturally at the expense of any economic development back in their farms.
Despite women in economies heavily based on agriculture being affected by climate change in a big way, their role in climate change adaptation and mitigation has been minimal. To have their voices heard, they must understand their social and political rights. Gender sensitivity in national climate policies, strategies, and practices will ensure that climate actions benefit all.
When we talk about gender, most of the times they think it's just women. And the reason why it's women, it's because women are the most marginalized groups, and they're also vulnerable groups in the society. They have not been represented in various decision-making spaces. They are not economically empowered.
Wamama sana alikuwa tukiwahusisha kuhusu information, na pia tunawapa awareness ya kuhusu vile yani haki zao, wapigania haki zao kutoka kwa serikali mpaka kwa jamii.
Miaka mingi iliyopita huku kwetu Coast, mwanamke alikuwa hana sauti. Mwanamke alikuwa hana sauti kabisa. Mwanamke kazi yake ilikuwa ni kuzaa mtoto na kukaa jikoni. Wewe huruhusiwi mahali pengine popote, huruhusiwi hata kusimama mbele ya wanaume uzungumze.
So uno muda mchache tumetoka training kupitia Crown Trust. Tulikuja pata nafasi ya kuamsha wamama wenzetu. Kwanza, wakati wa public participation wajitokeze kwa wingi, ama pia kama wanaenda sauti zao zilikuwa hazisikiki.
So the trainings that we had from Crown Trust gave us to know what the county government can do. Immediately also after the trainings, we had to go and see the MCAs of the area and inform them about our existence, and told them that after this training we've gone through it, we want to see this and this on the ground. We need to start working with you. So at least from the training we can say we have a stand. We have somewhere we can stand and start talking about climate change issues in West Pokot.
Formulation of community-based organizations that include women, youth, and people with disabilities will enable these groups of the population to influence climate policies. This will lead to creation of bankable project proposals for influencing, thus attracting funding.
The Green Champions for Change project seeks to ensure the meaningful participation of women and marginalized groups in key climate processes. And the marginalized groups include women, youth, and people living with disabilities.
Wakati tulishikana na hao Crown Trust, wakatuita huko Olkalau kwa masomo, ndio tuliona ni vizuri tufomu hii CBO juu itafikia watu wengi.
We want to go a step further as a county for these World Climate Change Committees to be able to light and have bankable climate change proposals. And you know, when we are saying a bankable proposal needs a lot of some trainings so that they can understand what am I going to place here, what am I not going to place there.
Wakati hawa Crown Trust walipokuja na wakatupeleka training, in fact tuliweza kuinuka na in a very high gear, na tukawa hata Kwale County tulipofanya uchaguzi, nakumbuka tuliweza kwenda kuomba kuingia kwenye kamati za education, kwenye kamati za children, kwenye kamati za lands, kwenye kamati za water.
As the first phase of the project comes to an end, marginalized groups should not be seen as victims but as powerful agents of change. Their full and equal participation in decision-making and implementation is critical. More resources need to be committed to build their experience, expertise, and capacities.
I think the capacity building has laid a good foundation for us as climate champions in West Pokot.
Phase one was all about ensuring that the community members have the knowledge, they have the skills, we have identified the platforms to engage, and we are hoping that phase two will be a process where they are working more with the county governments.
Vile vile pia ningependa kwa Crown Trust kama itawezekana waweze kuwekewa budget hawa vijana ambayo itakuwa inawasaidia mambo ya entrepreneurship, mambo ya biashara, watreniwe na kia bado vile vile wakishatreniwa waweze kupata hata cheti, wapate certificate ya kuwa wametreniwa, na after pale waweze kupewa pesa kidogo ya kuweza kuanzisha biashara yao.
Kama itawezekana tupelekwe kwa visit exchange to one of the counties ambayo it is doing the best.
We would also like to go to other areas, so we would like to have an expanded knowledge on conservation.
What we are trying to do as a county is trying to first is educate people on matters climate change, as well as coming up with programs, initiatives that are help to mitigate and improve the resilience of our people.
The time to implement measures to reduce vulnerability to the adverse effects of climate change in the country is now. More specific activities and initiatives supporting afforestation and use of clean sources of fuel, among other climate-friendly activities, need to be implemented.
Now that we've been having trainings in the first phase, I was thinking we should have some small implementation on women activities, like if we can come up with merry-go-rounds and see what we can put on the table for women, because women are badly affected by the climate change. So we need to economically empower the women.
We are trained on budget process. In budget process, the communities have understood that they can participate in budget making and in planning, so that they can plan on areas that can help them mitigate the effects of climate change. For example, communities have been able to push for projects such as dams.
With the trees, we can get shades, and also trees maintain rain. Minus trees is when climate change will be high.
Collaboration between government, civil society, and other stakeholders is required to win this war. Policy formulation, budget allocation, and improved awareness and communication are essential in providing intergenerational climate change education.
We would like to have conversation with the duty bearers, because that is where everything lies. We have the government resources that is sufficient, that is placed on wrong priorities.
We are planning to go to the county director of education, tumwambie atupe nafasi azungumze na wale ma educationist wale wengine, tupewe nafasi ya kwenda mashuleni, because we want to go and talk to our small children, kuwafundisha jinsi ya kupanda miti, ili shule ipandwe miti iwe kama a small forest.
Mimi peke yangu siwezi, lazima niungane na wenzangu, na wenzangu ni wale wa kutoka serikali kuu, jamii yenyewe tunaita community, na hata viongozi, hususan masuala mazima ya dini. Climate change inabadilika, saa hii mambo ya GVV ni mengi, ubakaji, sodomi, mimba za mapema, domestic violence zinafanyika. Je, mashehe wanafanya nini? Je, mapasta wanafanya nini? So hapa ni uunganisho na cooperation ya kufanya kazi pamoja.